In the heart of medieval Suffolk lies Woolpit, a quiet village bordered by ancient woodland and deep medieval wolf pits. It seems an unlikely place for one of Britain's strangest legends, one that unsettles historians even today. The story begins in the 12th century during the reign of King Stephen. Harvesters working the fields near the pits reported something impossible. Two children, dazed and frightened, appearing at the edge of the earth itself. What made the sight terrifying wasn't just their sudden arrival, it was their skin. Both children were completely green, their eyes wide with confusion, speaking a language no one recognised, and wearing clothes of unknown design. The reapers who first saw them approached slowly, certain the pair were either lost or victims of something worse. Yet nothing in the children's behaviour matched anything known. No cries for help, no familiar gestures. Villagers later claimed the air around the children felt charged, as though the atmosphere itself shifted. Some described a faint humming, like distant bells beneath the soil. Others felt a chill despite the summer heat. The children recoiled from the sun's glare, shielding their eyes as though daylight was painful. Whatever world they came from, it wasn't one ruled by the brightness of an English afternoon. The children were taken to the home of Sir Richard de Calne, a local landholder. Kind but cautious, he attempted to calm them, yet their fear was overwhelming. They clung to one another, trembling violently. Despite every attempt to feed them, the children refused all food. Apples, bread, meat, nothing brought comfort. Their eyes filled with distress, as though every offered dish was unfamiliar or even repellent. It was only when they saw freshly picked beans still in their pods that they reacted. They tore into them ravenously, eating only the raw pods and rejecting the beans inside, as though instinct guided them. Attempts to communicate failed. Their words flowed like a distant echo, soft, melodic, entirely unrecognisable. Monks attempted to compare it with languages from Flanders, Brittany, and the far reaches of Christendom. Nothing matched. Over time, villagers claimed the children's speech held rhythmic patterns unlike earthly tongues. Some likened it to chanting, others to the strange musical hum heard when they were first discovered. One monk described it as a language of neither men nor angels, a phrase later dismissed as an exaggeration. Yet it continued to be quoted in every retelling of this enduring mystery. Despite their initial survival, the boy's health quickly deteriorated. He struggled to adapt, his green complexion fading to a sickly pallor. Some believed the sunlight was weakening him, others whispered darker explanations. Within months, he fell into a lasting melancholy. He rarely spoke, rarely moved, and seemed constantly afraid. Villagers claimed he often stared into corners where no one stood, as though watching unseen presences. He eventually died, still a child, never revealing the truth of where he had come from. His sister, however, would live, and with her, the mystery deepens. The girl survived, gradually adapting to her new world. As she ate ordinary food, her green hue faded, replaced by normal human complexion. Yet she remained deeply unusual to those around her. She learned English quickly, speaking with odd phrasing and strange metaphors. Her mannerisms were described as otherworldly, as though she reacted to things unseen or heard sounds no one else detected. When questioned by Sir Richard about her origins, she finally began to speak, revealing a story that challenged everything medieval England believed about the world. The girl claimed she and her brother came from a place called St. Martin's Land, a realm bathed in permanent twilight. The sun never rose fully, she said. Everything lived in a soft half-light. Their world was described as underground or enclosed, fields glowing faintly, skies dim, and rivers shimmering with odd colours. Villagers dismissed this as imagination, yet monks noted her consistency and quiet certainty. She insisted everyone in St. Martin's Land was green. It was normal, natural, and they had never known a world like ours until the day everything changed. The girl said she and her brother were tending their father's animals when they heard a great ringing sound, a thunderous metallic chime unlike anything in their world. Drawn towards the noise, they wandered into what she described as a cavern of brightness. It glowed with colours that hurt their eyes, and the ground felt like air, soft, shifting, unfamiliar. Before they understood what was happening, they stumbled through a wall of light, emerging into a blinding sunlit field beside the wolf pits of Woolpit. Historians argue the children misinterpreted a simple event. Yet paranormal researchers see significance in description of sudden brightness, strange sound, and the transition between worlds, hallmarks of a portal-like phenomena. The wolf pits themselves sit atop ancient earthworks. Some believe areas of deep history and tragedy can distort the barrier between realities, creating momentary breaches where one realm bleeds into another. Could Woolpit have been one such location? An accidental crossing point between England and a dimension that existed just slightly out of phase with our own? Long before the Green Children arrived, Woolpit had rumours. Locals spoke of ghostly figures drifting near the pits, strange lights flickering at dusk, and livestock behaving oddly near the old earthworks. One historian even mentioned shadowed beings vanishing into the soil during storms, yet eerily similar to accounts from other thin places across Britain. Perhaps the children weren't the first to cross over, only the first who survived long enough to be found and questioned. Medieval villagers debated endlessly. Some believed the children were spirits, fair folk emerging from the hollow hills. Others feared demonic origins, seeing the green skin as a sign of witchcraft or enchantment. Priests approached cautiously, wary of heresy. Meanwhile, historians wrote obsessively, preserving every detail, aware that something unprecedented had entered the historical record. Yet no consensus formed. Whatever the children were, they did not align neatly with religion, folklore, or earthly explanation. As the girl grew older, she adapted even further to the human world. But villagers still noted strange behaviours, her fascination with shadows, her discomfort during the bright midday sun, her habit of listening to silent rooms. She often paused mid-sentence, as though hearing distant voices. Some claim she spoke occasionally in her native tongue, to someone or something unseen. Even as she integrated, she seemed to remain tethered to the realm she came from, half in Suffolk, half in St. Martin's Land. The girl eventually entered domestic service in her adulthood, living what appeared to be an ordinary life. Yet locals continued to describe her as aloof, intense, and quietly troubled. Some believed she carried guilt about her brother's death. Others whispered she longed to return to her world, but could never find the portal again. Her employers claimed she often woke in terror, insisting she had heard the strange metallic sound that brought her ear, echoing again in her dreams. Historians have offered countless explanations: malnutrition, immigrant children, usually pigmentation disorders. All plausible, yet none convincingly address the language, the clothing, or the children's account of another world. Folklorists argue it parallels stories of fairy changelings or visitors from hollow hills being caught between realms when the boundary momentarily thins. Modern researchers propose dimensional shifts, time slips, or even extraterrestrial contact. Though such theories remain controversial, especially among academics. Time-slip researchers highlight the strange auditory event the children described, a booming resonance, often reported in known time-slip anomaly cases across Britain. If St. Martin's Land was a past version of England, or a future one, its twilight state might reflect environmental or astronomical changes. The children may not have travelled across space, but through time itself, crossing through a fragile moment where two eras briefly touched. Some UFO researchers suggest the children may have come from subterranean or enclosed extraterrestrial environment. Their green skin could indicate chlorophyll-based diets, low sunlight, or atmospheric differences. The metallic sound and blinding light parallel modern UFO encounter reports, phenomena found in sightings from Rendlesham Forest to US Air Force bases in the 20th century. Could the children have exited a grounded craft or energy field without understanding what it was, interpreting strange technology through the lens of their own world? Even in modern times, Woolpit residents speak of strange sensations near the wolf pits, sudden cold spots, dizziness, and fleeting shadows moving against the earth banks at dusk. Visitors report hearing faint ringing, similar to the sound described by the children. Others claim to feel watched, as though something beneath the ground notices every step. Though rarely discussed publicly, these accounts keep the legends alive amongst villagers, who quietly acknowledge Woolpit's lingering strangeness. Near the end of her life, the woman reportedly confided to a priest that she had once seen a flicker of twilight in the woods, a brief glimpse of her homeland calling. She followed it, trembling, hoping for a return, but the vision faded, leaving her alone in the dark, sobbing in frustration and longing. She never saw it again. Her final years were lived with quiet acceptance, yet those close to her believed she never truly let go of St. Martin's Land. A recurring question haunts the legend. Why were only children transported? Some theorists argue children are more susceptible to dimensional anomalies, more attuned to fluctuations in time or reality. Others believe children may reflect innocence or energetic resonance, making them more likely to cross thresholds adults cannot perceive. Whatever the cause, the boy's death and the girl's survival create a tragic division that scholars still struggle to interpret. The wolf pits themselves were deep, circular traps, ancient and sinister. They symbolised death, fear, and the boundary between civilization and wilderness. Many cultures believe such liminal spaces attract otherworldly activity. Edge of village zones, pits, caves, wells, places where the veil is naturally thin. Perhaps the children didn't emerge in Woolpit by chance. The pits may have been the anchor point where their world and ours overlapped. Multiple medieval accounts mention a faint glow surrounding the children when first found, often dismissed as poetic embellishment. But witnesses described a greenish sheen lingering briefly on their skin, as though they carried remnants of their world's twilight. Had the portal not fully closed around them? Could the strange light have been a residue of transition, a visual echo of inter-realm travel? When asked why they travelled, the girl insisted they never meant to come. They were lost, pulled towards the sound without understanding its danger. This raises darker possibilities. Was the sound a natural anomaly, or something sent intentionally, a beacon perhaps, or a mechanism designed to lure? If so, were the children victims of misadventure, or the unintended consequences of a force far beyond human understanding? Today, Woolpit embraces the story. Though many locals avoid the wolf pits after dark, the legend remains woven into the village's identity, both celebrated and feared. Tourists visit seeking history, investigators visit seeking truth. Strange reports continue, though rarely publicised, maintaining Woolpit's quiet reputation as a place where the veil can tremble. The Green Children remain part of England's most enduring supernatural folklore, never fully myth nor fully explained. If St. Martin's Land existed, its pathway has long since closed. Whatever force connected the two worlds has fallen silent, leaving only stories behind. Yet legends suggest portals shift over centuries, appearing and disappearing with subtle changes in the landscape, earth settling, seasons shifting, histories unfolding. Perhaps another breach will one day open, but whether it would bring visitors like the Green Children or something far more unsettling remains unknown. The Green Children of Woolpit challenge everything we think we know about medieval history. Their story sits on the border of truth and impossibility, refusing to be neatly filed away. Were they travellers between realms, victims of a time slip, or accidental witnesses to forces unseen? Every interpretation leaves new questions, never answers. But one truth endures. In a quiet Suffolk village, nearly 9 centuries ago, 2 children stepped out of another world, and Britain has never forgotten them.